Alright, boys and girls, the brand new special midweek WHALEMART offer is now out in DML. And so this WHALEMART offer is made specifically so that you can spend all of your blue dungeon tokens. So, as you know, the blue dungeon tokens will no longer be usable in the new update. So this is probably going to be your best opportunity to spend them and actually get some decent stuff out of it. So, main thing to note here is, if you are someone that's been stacking tons and tons of dungeon tokens for a long time, you can actually get a decent amount of gems out of it. But anyway, going from left to right, these are the deals that we have. So we have a habitat limit extender, which is 50,000 dungeon tokens. I personally only have 100,000 tokens because I could never be bothered to do the dungeon. But habitat limit extenders are actually quite good. But then we've got those. We have a legendary habitat for 1,000, which is probably one of the more unnecessary bundles here. Then we've got 2 VIP tickets that you can get for 2,500 each, which is definitely worth picking up. The main deal that a lot of people are probably going to be frothing over is this 5 gem deal, where you can get 5 gems for every 25,000 dungeon tokens. I wouldn't really be able to get a lot. I'd be able to get like 20. But for people that have been stacking for a long time, you can get up to 30 lots of this, which is not bad. It's better than getting absolutely nothing of value out of your blue dungeon tokens, so pretty good deal overall if you've got tons to spare. Then we've got a boss habitat for 50,000, that's whatever. We have arena gems for 1,000, that's alright actually, and 150,000 food for 25,000, but you can only get 2 lots of it, which is probably one of the worst deals here. So, you know, getting the gems is obviously good outright, but I think what I'm going to do personally is I'm going to buy the habitat limit extenders, because I always seem to need extra habitats, and that means that now we can't buy the expensive deals, and I've always got tons of VIP. I'm actually going to buy arena gems in case we ever want to go on a big streak in the arena and go for those special arena dragons. You can just farm up arena gems pretty easily, but I'm just going to take that deal, and I'll probably get a few extra dungeon tokens and get some VIP tickets before the end of the week's over. But that is the special WHALEMART. I am happy that they actually made one, because from the sounds of it, initially they didn't actually have one planned, but here you go. You can actually get some pretty good value out of otherwise meaningless resources. So thank you for providing us with this opportunity, Gameloft. So, in terms of the actual dungeon itself, of course, if you want to get some extras for today, you can also spend gems to boost the amount of tokens that you win. I would normally never ever recommend that you do that. But not many more times now that we're going to be doing the dungeon before the new one comes out. So this dungeon, as we know it, say goodbye. Say goodbye. He is on his last legs. He's going into retirement. And we'll never see these random 6-wave dungeons probably ever again. Unless the bottomless dungeon is really similar to this, but from the sounds of it, it is absolutely nothing like it. But, you know, I think with the dungeon, the main problem was just that it was really boring doing the same thing over and over again, just for pretty much 0 reward. Now, obviously, you can exchange your tokens in for something more valuable, but for people that already had all of the dungeon dragons, it was just pointless going and doing the dungeon every day, unless you wanted to potentially get some bonus gems out of the final chest, because let's not forget, in the current version of the dungeon, you have the opportunity to get 100 gems every single time you finish. And in the new dungeon that we're getting, they say that the further along in the endless dungeon we go, the higher, or the better our rewards are, I should say. So do you think that there's a chance that we can get 100 gems in that dungeon again? Or at least 100 grand total if you do multiple waves? I don't know. But I didn't like the RNG factor on the dungeon. I think my least favourite part about the dungeon, on top of everything, was the RNG for the special dungeon dragons. You know how every every so often, for a couple of weeks, we'd get a special dragon that was only available during a limited time, and you had to finish the dungeon to have a chance of getting out of one of the chests. It's probably my least favourite thing about the dungeon out of everything. Like, I don't care that there's 2 waves and it's boring. I don't care that it's pretty much exactly the same every time. The thing that annoyed me was the drop rate on those dragons, because it just felt like no matter how much effort you put in, you just weren't rewarded, because it was just complete RNG. So I'm wondering if the Endless dungeon is going to do something to combat that or not, or is going to have different drop rates for super special dragons and things like that. You know, sort of like how chain breeding works, how at the moment we are getting like plus 5%, sometimes plus 10% on chain breeding dragon outcomes, because otherwise they're really, really unlikely to come out. I'm hoping that in future they do that with the dungeon dragons as well, because it's just such a pain trying to go through it and getting absolutely nothing for it. But there you go, we missed out on a gem, or a couple of gems there, which is annoying. But we got 520 dungeon currency, so, you know, if you come back and do this every single day, or for the couple of days that this is up, you will be able to get yourself a couple of extra arena gems, a couple of extra VIP tickets. So it's worth doing the dungeon every day just to, you know, get a couple of these deals and say your goodbyesies to the dungeon as a whole. So that is what is currently going on. I don't believe we've got any more information regarding the dungeon quite yet, but I will say that I have been doing a lot of skipping, because I think that they've upped the amount of breeding skips that we can do if you watch ads, and during the castle event period, those skips are incredibly useful, because, you know, right now we need 450 of our breeding points, but our dragons wouldn't be done until 4 hours and 33 minutes from now. But with the increased amount of ads that we can watch, we can actually reduce this a ton and get a ton of points for the castle event. So keep that in mind, make sure you're using it to your advantage. You know, you can just put the ad on while you're doing something else, and it doesn't really stop what you're doing in general for the rest of your day. Say you're using the computer anyway, you know, you just play out the ad, turn your volume down to 0, don't even look at it. And then, there you go, you get a free skip. I mean, I wonder how much money Gameloft actually makes out of the amount of advertisements that people watch. Because just think about how many times you have personally watched an ad in-game in DML. Probably thousands and thousands and thousands of times for some people. Some people, maybe they just hate them and they've only done it like once and then we're like, yeah, screw that. But I know some people that religiously watch the ads to get any sort of bonus. People even watch the ads to get those crappy Enchantment League chests, and that is something that I cannot personally ever be bothered to do. So, you know, kudos to you if you have the willpower to watch the ad videos for the Enchantment League chests, but I don't. Not at the point that I'm at on my PC account anyway. I've done it before for my Android account, because, you know, we need lower grade materials on that account. But on PC, it is just not worth the effort. I would literally rather spend the 30 seconds doing close to anything else in existence. It's kind of sad. It's like, how can game mechanics or parts of the game get to such a point where it's like, yep, I would literally probably rather try and stub my toe in that time frame rather than watch an ad video for such a low grade chest. Very sad indeed. But, you know, this reset, or the coming reset I should say, we should be moving on to level 6, assuming that our luck isn't absolutely awful. So we are going to be moving on to Erlang Shen level and getting a hold of the Jade Warrior very soon, which means that if we wanted to go for breeding Pangu, we've actually got a decent shot. We've got like, what, 5 days, assuming that we do it in the next reset, which we should. Again, that's unless the key is in the literal last chest on level 5, in which case I'm going to kill something. But my luck has been really, really mediocre in the castle event. 3 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, or whatever it is. And now we're at 4 again. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I just don't want to have to open up every single chest on level 5, because we were doing pretty far, or we were doing pretty good, being pretty far ahead. But I really need it to be in this chest for the sake of my own brain being able to cope. But regardless, I'm going to continue on with all my event stuff very soon, and so for now, I guess best of luck with all of your breeding, all of your chest RNG, and I hope that you can take advantage of these great deals in the Whalemart as well. So for now, thank you very much for joining me, and until next time, I'll see you then.